In my years as a police officer and certainly now as a lawyer who represents a vast number of DUI clients, one of the things I'm often asked is, am I going to jail for DUI? The short answer to that is yes. There is a mandatory sentencing statute in the state of Arizona that you have to serve some time in jail. For example, and again, don't let my yes answer scare you, because there's a range of things, and I'll give you an example here. 28-1381A of the Arizona Revised Statute, which is the basic DUI statute. Those are the just regular .08 DUI, the basic DUI statute. The minimum sentencing guidelines that the judges must, there's very little discretion to the judge, they must comply with, is that there is a 10-day jail sentence, but 9 days can be suspended after completion of the court-ordered screening and alcohol process. And again, that's screening. That's again to the discretion of the judge. And after that, then the judge can suspend 9 days. So what does that mean? That means that you'd have to serve 1 day in jail. Now, how does that 1 day in jail look? Again, some of that is left up to the discretion of the court. If you were arrested for driving under the influence at 9 o'clock in the morning and they booked you into 4th Avenue Jail or Madison downtown, or you were transferred to Lower Buckeye and you stayed there for 8 hours until you detoxed, for lack of better words, could that 8 hours count as your day in jail? Sure, if the judge writes the order that way. Or can the judge write an order to say you spend 24 hours in jail? Yes, I've seen it happen both ways, depending on which court it comes through, depending on the judge that you're in front of. But that mandatory 1 day in jail, it's a part of the mandatory sentencing requirement. So the chances are you're going to spend at least that day in jail. The number of days in jail only increase with the number of offenses, the number of times that you've been arrested for DUI, and the level of your blood alcohol content. If it's extreme DUI or super extreme DUI, the number of days go up. It can go up to as high as 180 days, 90 days of which must be consecutive. That's for a second offense under the super extreme DUI. That's the .20 or higher. So you could end up in jail for up to 6 months, or it could be that 8 hours. That 8 hours could have been completed if you were sitting in jail detoxing. So by the next time you come back to court, you won't have to get remanded back into custody. But again, it's a case-by-case scenario. The short answer to it is yes, there are mandatory sentencing requirements that require you to spend at least 1 day in jail, up to 180 days in jail. You would want to sit down and talk with your attorney about that, the specifics of the case, to determine if more jail time will be required if you've already been booked. If you weren't booked, if you were site released or released to a responsible third party, you still have that mandatory sentencing in front of you. But your lawyer, one of our lawyers, or if you selected another lawyer, would go and argue those points before the court to try to ensure that you got the minimum amount of time that could be sentenced to you under this, or you could be sentenced to, I should say, under the statute. So you'd want to discuss the specifics with your lawyer, and he would go over the mandatory guidelines for DUI with you.